A Maharaja asks his friend Tarzan to come to India to help the Maharaja's daughter Kamara relocate 300 elephants that are in a nature sanctuary that will be flooded when a new dam is built. Tarzan's plan is to stampede the elephants through a pass in the mountains before the dam is finished, but project manager O'Hara and head construction engineer Bryce both want the pass walled up before the monsoons arrive so that they can finish on time.
My name is Tarzan. I have many friends who are elephants, but I don't own any of them.
Howdy, I'm Cliffy from Cliff Dive into Movies. Let's take a deep dive to 1962 and let's talk about Tarzan Goes to India. So where exactly does Tarzan Goes to India fit into the history of the Tarzan films? Well, it's the 24th Tarzan movie in the same series that began with 1932's Tarzan the Ape Man with Johnny Weissmuller and Maureen O'Sullivan. Jock Mahoney stars as Tarzan in this one, his first of two turns as Tarzan. Next, he would star as Tarzan in 1963's Tarzan's Three Challenges. Jock Mahoney is the oldest person ever hired to play Tarzan. He was 42 at the time. And he's also the oldest person to ever play Tarzan. He was 43 during the filming of Tarzan Goes to India, but he's 44 during the filming of Tarzan's Three Challenges. The next oldest would be Johnny Weissmuller, who was 43 during the filming of Tarzan and the Mermaids. Incidentally, Jock Mahoney has a pretty interesting history with the Tarzan movies. He was almost cast as Tarzan in 1949's Tarzan's Magic Fountain, but producers decided to go with Lex Barker instead. Then he was the bad guy Coy Banton in Gordon Scott's last Tarzan movie, Tarzan the Magnificent, in 1960. In 62 and 63, he stars as Tarzan in two films. Later, he would guest star in 3 episodes of the Ron Ely Tarzan TV show. And finally, he was the stunt coordinator on the Bo Derek's Tarzan the Ape Man in 1981. Jock Mahoney didn't like the fact that in the trailer he's called the greatest stuntman ever. Not that that's an insult, but he didn't want to be considered a stuntman who could act, but rather an actor that did his own stunts. Kind of like Tom Cruise, except Jock Mahoney can actually act. And in the movie, Mahoney does all of his own stunts, except for 2. In the beginning of the movie, Tarzan jumps out of an airplane and dives into water. Although Mahoney wanted to do the stunt, the Indian government wouldn't allow the stunt, so a dummy was used instead. During the movie, Tarzan faces off against a cobra, a rogue elephant, and a jaguar, but oddly, not against a Bengal tiger. And rarely is an adventure movie set in India that doesn't have a tiger in it. That's because when Bryce changed Tarzan up and Tarzan is attacked by a jaguar, originally he was attacked by a tiger, but Mahoney refused to do the scene. I can't imagine why. He would only be wearing a loincloth, no protective padding, and tigers weigh somewhere between 350 and 570 pounds. The producer's second option was to replace the tiger with a jaguar, but Mahoney still refused to wrestle a jaguar, citing that it was just too dangerous. So they had a man named Jerry Crampton wrestle a jaguar instead. They did wire the jaguar's mouth shut. It's not something that would be done nowadays, but back in the 60s, that was a common thing that they did. But the jaguar still had claws, and Crampton was left with scars that he had for the rest of his life. Crampton ended up becoming a top British stuntman, and he worked on 6 of the James Bond films. Oh, by the way, I say Tarzan faces off against a cobra, a rogue elephant, and a jaguar because he doesn't actually defeat any of them. A mongoose comes along and kills the cobra, the rogue elephant gets defeated by another elephant, and somebody else kills the jaguar. According to the movie poster, Princess Kamara is Tarzan's new love interest, played by Shimi in the credits. Full name, Shimi Garwal. This is only her second movie that she ever did, and she would become a top actress, director, producer, and later in life, a talk show host in India. However, in the movie, Tarzan barely talks to her. Every conversation they have is either about the elephants or the refugees that have to be moved because of the dam. That's it. In fact, she's actually in love with somebody else. This is probably because Mahoney was 42 and Shimi was born in October of 1947, making her only 14 during the time of filming. Jay, the Elephant Boy, stars as himself, not to be confused with the Elephant Man. That's a completely different story. But in truth, his real name was actually Levi Aaron Aroni. I think I'm saying that right. He was 10 years old. Actually, he does pretty good in this movie working with the elephants, but he had never actually worked with elephants before making this movie. Let's be honest, Mahoney's true co-stars were the elephants Jahindra and Rahindra, who both played Jahindra in the movie. Wahindra was also the rogue elephant Bala and was used as the stunt double for Wahindra in the elephant stampede at the end of the movie. Both elephants were around 11 feet tall and were somewhere between 67 and 100 years old, depending on the source. Interesting, I did read where Mahoney called the elephant that he rode on in the stampede Mahavita. It wouldn't be a Tarzan movie without bad guys, and here it's O'Hara and Bryce. Both are ruthless in their pursuit of getting the dam built. Bryce and Tarzan have a mutual hatred towards each other because Bryce was trophy hunting when he was working on a dam in Africa earlier. Originally, both characters died at the end of the movie, but the script was changed so that Bryce died before the stampede, and O'Hara lived and was given a chance to change his ways and learn to live with the elephants. Mark Dana plays O'Hara and Leo Gordon plays Bryce. Gordon was also in an episode of Ron Ely's Tarzan TV show. He also guest starred in almost every TV Western in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, usually as the bad guy. Tarzan Goes to India cost $1.1 million to make, which is $11.5 million in 2025. Some sources say the movie was the highest grossing Tarzan movie at the time, and others say that the movie lost money. To be honest, I couldn't find anything consistently to say if it did or didn't make any money, or if it did lose money. Reception to Tarzan Goes to India seems to be 50-50. Some people find the plot and the bad guys boring. In general, Jock Mahoney is well liked as Tarzan. Personally, I like the movie. I like Jock Mahoney as Tarzan. I think he works very well. And I think he seems like somebody who could command both people and elephants. Jock Mahoney and Jai work well with each other. Tarzan is a mentor and father figure to him. However, it is clear that Tarzan is used to commanding adults and doesn't have much experience with children. Clearly, this Tarzan doesn't have a Jane or boy back in Africa. Bryce works as the stereotypical bad guy. There's really not much to him. O'Hara, he's just trying to get the job done. So I know a lot of people complain that they're boring, but actually I think they work for the movie. I like how where just before Tarzan encounters the snake, he eats some fruit from a tree, which turns out to taste horrible. It's true that Tarzan is comfortable in any jungle, but he might not be familiar with what tastes good. Not all Tarzan movies, but most Tarzan movies end with a last-minute elephant stampede to save the day. I like that the whole plot of this movie is that Tarzan needs to get the elephants to stampede to save them. I've never worked in a construction site, so I don't know what happens on an actual site, but I don't think the producers knew either. O'Hara and Bryce are always looking at the plans, going to look at the plans, get interrupted looking at the plans, or just got done looking at the plans. I would think at some point they would have to check the actual construction to see if the plans are being followed. Also, I don't know how familiar with elephants the producers were. Bala is a violent rogue male elephant that has taken charge of the herd of elephants that must be relocated. Now, true, a rogue elephant is usually a violent male elephant. Sometimes they're female, but usually male. However, females are always in charge of elephant herds, never males. And even then, it's usually the oldest female in the herd. The males leave when they mature and usually leave solitary lives. So Bala being in charge of a herd in the wild is a little odd. I mean, yes, it's in a sanctuary, but still they're a wild herd. Some called Jock Mahoney one of the greatest stuntmen ever, and they mentioned that in the trailer. Although he did want to be known for his acting, I got to admit, I agree that he might have been one of the greatest stuntmen. The final elephant stampede is pretty good proof that he was one of the greatest. After all, he's riding an 11-foot tall elephant, going full speed at 15 miles an hour. I read that they were going either 50 or 60 miles an hour, but looking up Indian elephants, I found information that says that generally elephants only walk at 15 miles an hour. They don't actually run, they just walk really, really fast. Still, 15 miles an hour is faster than I can walk. And he's doing it with no other rider and in front of a herd of elephants. Pretty impressive, if you ask me. In fact, they did this sequence last just in case he got hurt, so that, if he got hurt, they still had the movie in the can. Tarzan Goes to India is available on DVD and Blu-ray, and thankfully, Tarzan Goes to India was released on DVD in 2010, so you don't have to worry about your Warner Brothers DVD not working. That seems to be just Warner Brothers DVDs made between 2006 and 2008. And that's Let's Talk About Tarzan Goes to India. My name's Cliffy. I hope you like the video as much as I like making it, and take care.